Shit.
All right, lay it on me. What's going on?
All right, so I've received a number of complaints regarding the lockdown system.
Oh,
You and I talked about this originally,
really?
Wrangler, the other day.
No way.
No way. I know, shocked, right?
Wow, that's surprising.
We spoke about this the other day, and I told you that if we continued down this path, it was likely going to result in either legislation or in some kind of pushback. And here we are. So here's my perspective.
Okay.
I don't think we can continue locking down properties without a pending warrant or without any kind of stated probable cause.
I'm gonna be-
stated
I'm-
to who?
Okay.
To the judge.
So I would like to play devil's advocate on this one because I think we need to reach a middle ground somewhere between what you just said and what we're currently doing. The problem is that if we're waiting until we have an actual signed warrant, waiting on a judge's signature.
No, hold that thought.
No, I'm saying pending.
warrant.
No.
Yeah.
Do you know how long it takes me to fucking type?
That's
If
my
you're
point.
writing up a warrant, then you could lock it down. I think what he's saying is don't lock it down unless you're writing up a warrant.
Yes.
Yeah,
That's
I agree
exactly
with,
what we're
I
talking
agree
about.
with Crane on
Okay,
this one too, yeah.
Yes.
Okay. What if? Yeah. Okay. Well.
I'm sorry, Wrangler. You need some sort of paperwork before you can lock people's shit
Okay.
down.
So, nice to see you, Angel.
Good to see you.
Yeah, regular. I brought everybody here who's in high command so we'd be on the same page. So it's not an issue going forward.
Everybody.
Yeah,
reads
I
it.
tried to email the
I
sheriff.
was asked to be here. Okay.
Yeah,
didn't
I
confirm any
emailed the
question.
sheriff and the other sheriff. They couldn't make it, or else they'll be here.
Okay. So here's the thing, though. If we're investigating one person's property,
Hey, Golden Laurel, what's up?
and
You guys don't know.
it
Golden
looks
Laurel,
like that
please,
another property might
tell.
be involved with this. Another person might be involved with it, but we don't have the proof yet. But we're probably going to get it out of the house. We just need it to further another search warrant. I think that's still a valid reason. It's still under investigation.
That
And
sounds to me
the-
like you have reasonable suspicion, but not PC, and PC is what we need to lock down a property.
Correct.
My question is, how could you possibly say that you're going to get more PC to raid another property just because one property has something in it? 'Cause you
Join
need
me
to
on a
articulate-
raid.
You need to articulate
I
the other
will.
property has stuff in it, though, Wrangler.
But if someone has a bunch of drugs, it's very likely that that property.
All right. Okay.
Will-
Stop. Hold on.
Okay.
So let's add context here. For example, right? The situation with the warehouse with the drugs that stemmed from the metamorphine. So everyone's on the same page. I'll go through the basic understanding. Wrangler gets a tip off from a CI that someone is selling metamorphine at Autos. He arrests the person. He gets them in custody. He interrogates them. The person admits under Miranda what they were doing. They give him permission, affirmative consent, to search a warehouse in their name. When he searches the warehouse, he finds a meth-producing table, a bunch of pillows of meth, and he finds several IDs in that warehouse. Now, I want to be certain that we're on the same page here in our understanding that the list of IDs was not limited to people in one gang, and it was not limited to criminals. One of the person's IDs in there was Winona Fontaine, the ex-DOC warden. But Wrangler went ahead and locked down the properties for not only the people whose IDs were found in those warehouses, but anyone who those people had keys to properties for. So my point is that at that point, that is reasonable suspicion, as Bundy just said, and not probable cause.
But I was right. I was actually right.
Wrangler,
exactly
that's not how the
exactly
justice
what I
system
told you.
works.
Okay.
Do you remember how I turned down the first warrant when you hadn't done the subpoena? Right.
Right.
And then you
here's
did the
thing, if all
subpoena,
those properties
and that
wouldn't have been locked down, we wouldn't have found shit.
Wait.
We wouldn't have found a
Wait.
goddamn.
Hold on.
Wait.
Let him finish.
And then
Okay.
you did the subpoena, and you got probable
Right.
cause, and I signed the warrant. If I had signed the warrant before you had probable cause and before it met the search and seizure warrant guidelines of more likely than not, then guess what? Just because you were right doesn't mean it was legal. So just because your raids turned out to be fruitful doesn't mean the action was legal of locking down all the properties. That is why Fruit of the Poisonous Tree exists. Because if
Okay.
you do an action that is illegal and then you find illegal shit, it all gets taken back. Now, we don't have a law right now that says that you have to have probable cause for the lockdown, but what I'm telling you is that if you guys don't start adhering to the idea of reasonable suspicion versus probable cause, then I will fully legislate what should already be understood from the Constitution.
Okay, I'm sure you will, but right now I'm just curious. What are we all worked up about? What specific examples? I'm just
Okay, so
curious.
why was Miguel Almirian in lockdown for 24 hours? Why was his house locked down?
Oh, we're good.
Why was a house he has keys
Actually,
access to
Brian's
locked down?
here. Brian,
They're calling you, sir. They're calling you. Brian.
Wrangler, nobody here can argue or disagree to the fact that you get the job done.
Hey.
You yield results. You get big raise, big buffs,
Right.
right? What we're trying to
Absolutely.
say is just take the right measures and the right steps to get there. That's all it is.
okay, so hold on. Here's what I would like to do. I would like to defend myself against specific examples here, because what ends up happening is when people get in a room, things are just thrown around, and then everyone
I
talks
agree.
over me, and I'm
I
not
agree.
able to do that. Okay. So
Okay.
Miguel Ramirez was caught.
Almirian.
Thank you. Miguel, someone else did that. Miguel Amirion was caught with a Groza and a specific kind of pistol that we have never fucking seen ever until a crate of them was drug out of this. It's a pending investigation, Brian. I don't know how much you want me to say here, but basically, Miguel's thing is a whole fucking thing.
Okay. And do
It
you
really
do you
is a
know the
whole
search
fucking
and
thing.
seizure warrant guidelines about executing raids and how long you have to serve the papers?
No.
Because I'm well aware that you have not been adhering to those.
Okay. Well, has anyone reached out to me for these papers? Am I supposed to track these people down or what? How am I supposed to deliver these fucking papers if no one's reaching out to me for them?
I usually text them.
You text them.
Yeah, I just
that's
send
how
them
I
text.
texted. And that's how I did
All right.
the
Or
this-
email. I don't have
this
any of these
check back.
people's emails.
Yeah, no, I don't either. Like,
You don't need it.
I just send them a text that says,
I will
"Hey,
I will
by the
happily
way, we
serve these
raided you.
papers if
Here's the
they or
warrant."
their legal representation reaches
It
out
is
to me
not
for
the
them.
burden is not on them. It is in the legislation that you are to provide them within a certain amount of time.
Okay, well then I'll just text them.
That is fine.
And
Look,
how long is that time?
I believe it's 72 hours. Correct me if I'm wrong, Bundy.
All right, fine.
That sounds right to me.
Wrangler, you know what your problem is?
That's a
You
-1
consistent-
for me.
You try and juggle too many things at once,
Bundy
and it's,
also
like,
plays
causing
Ray
a lot of
Montag,
backlash.
who wrote this legislation. so
Listen,
that's why I asked him. It was kind of
I
a
just
joke
was
there.
under the impression that they had to reach out to me. But now that's cleared up.
Yeah, look, I'm not here to tell y'all that I don't like what you're doing. In fact, I'm a big advocate for what Wrangler does, and he knows that. I've helped him secure a number of raid warrants, and I've guided him on how to get to the probable cause that he needed. I'm just telling y'all that we're towing a line here with this lockdown system where we cannot just have reasonable suspicion. It has to be probable cause. And especially with the keyholder system, so this thing with Miguel Almirian, right, with the Groza and everything, and then he's a key holder to a house that is in Lilith Earhart's name, right, in Mirror Park. The idea of going from he has some guns that we've never seen before, which is grounds for an investigation, which is reasonable suspicion, and you may get to probable cause if you file subpoenas on him, right, and you find, let's say, communications between him and Lilith Earhart, which, given that they interact quite frequently, I'm sure that wouldn't be a problem. My point is that there are steps that we need to be taking to get to the point of filing for these raid warrants so that they can be approved and they can be legitimate. Otherwise, if we just go straight to locking things down, we are having a big problem here. And so the conclusion of that
I had
comment,
probable cause to lock down Miguel's property.
the one owned by Lilith Earhart,
Yes.
why?
Well, like I was about to explain, he had one of these guns that we'd never seen before. He had a Groza. He was involved in an officer-involved shooting, where some items were stolen, and I believed, based on that he was storing illegal things within his properties or properties he had access to.
Okay, so do you see how that sounds a lot like the statement of probable cause you would put in a warrant that you would need signed off on to get access to a property, and how locking down a
Right.
property and denying someone access to their property is a seizure of that property inherently under the Fourth Amendment? So we're getting into the realm of I don't want to sit here and have to gut check you on every single lockdown you're going to do. But if we insist on doing it in the sort of haphazard shotgun way that it's being done right now, then that may have to happen.
So just
And
for
we don't
like-
want that because
So hold on. So I'm confused here. I feel like we haven't really reached an agreement. Do you want physical paperwork submitted before anything is locked down?
I want you to do things on a good faith basis based on probable cause, not reasonable suspicion.
Okay, and I've yet to see. We've been sitting here talking for quite some time now, but I haven't been presented an example of when you believe I've done that.
I don't think you have probable cause to believe it is more likely than not that more of those unique firearms or illegal firearms are in Lilith Eilhart's house.
Well, a guy who has access to this home is in possession of one, and we've literally never seen
So
them
you're going
before.
with the argument that is if someone is a key holder of property, it means that that is open game on a raid warrant if they are found with illegal goods.
Yes.
I do not think that's how we're going to proceed with that.
That's okay.
Unless you make the connection between
I'm
the
sorry.
two, right?
So you're operating under the assumption that people don't put stash houses in other people's names?
I'm operating under the assumption that we are at a point with the key holder system where if we just literally went off of they have access to the property based on what I see on my MDW, and that means I can link them to that person and I should be able to search that property, that we are not heading in a good direction.
Oh,
I think
buddy.
I think that what Crane is trying to say is that because we've gotten into a relaxed state with our current warrants, Wrangler, you remember how the DOJ was making us have like specific,
Like, I'll put it this
specific
way, yeah.
probable cause.
I don't
as
wanna-
to, like
yeah.
the property itself. Like what was that, 6 or 7 months ago?
Yep.
I
Yeah.
used to have to camp in bushes and wait for people to go in.
I'm advocating for a middle ground
Right.
here where you use subpoenas to get that linkage. You don't necessarily have to see the person going to the house with a camera, because
Well,
I think
I think
subpoenas
it's,
are more realistic,
uh,
but I still don't think it's okay to have
You're
no
asking for
additional
another connection to that
connection.
property within the key holder to
Correct.
make that probable cause.
Right.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I don't think people should be abusing the lockdown mechanism.
So in the connection of Miguel Almirian to Lilith Eilhart for this raid, did you have independent connections?
Yes.
What was that?
Brian has asked me not to speak on the details of his investigation.
I don't think Lilith's name came up in it yet.
The gang she's in did, Brian.
Oh, you can mention that.
Okay. So we believe that the HOA is directly involved with not only selling weapons but also drugs. Are you sure, Brian? I mean, this is your thing.
I don't know where you're going with this. So
You don't, Brian. We talked about this link for.
I mean,
hours.
we can trust everybody here. It's fine. I think you can proceed.
yeah,
Can
I think
we?
it's fine.
Okay,
Yeah, this is
Brian was
fine.
just telling me for.
I mean, look who's in the room.
Do you want Brian here or
Right.
not, Wrangler?
There's
I
also
want Brian
dispatchers
here.
and Fingal
I'm
Dan
fine.
too,
I'm fine
so
with it.
Br- Do you not think there's a mole in the PD anymore?
This is Angel Molten Bass.
Okay.
Bundy.
Well, fuck me, I guess.
Look, the only
He-
person
he's
I refer
been-
to is Satan. Okay.
Hail Satan.
Hail Satan.
Okay. Well, the reason I'm being so reserved is because Brian yelled at me for 2 hours how he believes there's a PD, there's a mole within the PD. But I guess since we're not doing that anymore, I'll just let it fly.
Okay.
Well,
let's
what?
turn
You're
it into-
not
I'm
being
looking
very
at the
helpful here.
people. Literally am walking in with like on my 15th hour, and God knows I don't even know what the fuck this meeting's about. Quite frankly.
It's about PD lockdowns.
Yes, I did believe that Lilith Earhart, based on the information that we had gathered over multiple investigations and her association with a active violent street gang, could potentially have some illegal items in her home.
Okay. I don't know if there's a way to resolve this without going down the more paperwork route, because I hate the more paperwork route. Let's go with the other examples. What about the other day with all the key holders associated with Mary Posa who were her clients?
Mary Posa is a meth addict that robs bank.
Did you have a linkage outside of their ID and her having key holder access to their homes or to lock down all
Yes.
those properties?
Yes, I did.
Okay, how did you have access to
Mariposa was in direct possession of a meth bag that we had pulled out of a meth lab that ended up being associated with a gang that is associated with another gang.
Right.
that she
Those
is
ones
a
I
member
signed
of.
warrants on, and I thought they were legitimate. I'm talking about the other ones who were her house decorating clients.
How am I supposed to know what her house decorating?
Well, I
clients is
just
and what's
asked
a
you
red
if you had a
herring?
linkage to them, and you said you didn't. You did. So what was it? Because some of those
Her
people were
having
not in
ac-
that gang.
Her having access to the property. I feel like that's the disconnect here.
So you
Um,
again, you're going back to just having access to the property is enough without any other kind of linkage.
Yeah, that's like I said, that's where the disconnect here is. I feel like that should be enough to at least lock it down. I understand. I'm with you where you feel like that shouldn't be enough to have it rated.
But that's
But
the
I do
same.
think that that
It's
should-
it's still a violation of their rights. It's a seizure of the property.
Well, maybe don't give your fucking key to your house out to a goddamn meth smoking bank robber.
I don't think it's the issue here. The issue here is we're basically violating their Fourth Amendment right by locking it down.
Guys,
without
stop making
probable
negative
cause.
comments about people. That are
I
on
did
the
have
server.
probable cause. I just explained it.
Stop making negative
Just to
comments.
speak
all
on
right?
how this matter
This
was
is all RP, everybody.
handled back in Liberty
This is
City.
all RP.
Whenever
Everybody
we
chill.
would lock down
We are
properties, there
all
would only
chilling
be,
right
like,
here.
you would
This is
post
good
up units
RP.
with
This
crime
is
scene data,
conflict.
so on and so forth.
This is
But it
entertainment.
would
This
only
is
be on
fun.
properties that
This
you
is
were
not
actively
negativity by
pursuing a
anybody,
search and
guys.
seizure
Relax.
on. You were looking for a
We're
magistrate
cozy.
judge, you
We're
were trying
having
to get somebody
fun.
to
This
sign
is
it.
part of the drama, all right?
You
Just
couldn't
chill.
lock down properties.
Yeah, I'm
like,
drinking tea,
hoping that you would
Swagenheimer,
later
thank you.
find evidence, because, like Crane said, that is a seizure of the property. If the warrant got
Right.
rejected, then that doesn't really matter because you were pursuing it in good faith. But if you locked down a property, you put like 4 units on it to keep people out of it or whatever.
Yeah, we're chilling, guys. This
and
is
then you
entertainment.
never
You
wrote
see
a
how
warrant,
worked up you guys
would
are
get
getting? You see
sued
how
out of
like
the
into it
ass,
you're getting?
for
Yeah.
that.
That's because
I
it's
think what
good
Christian is saying
content,
is
right?
PC for her
It's good
personal
content.
property,
It's
but the
conflict. It's
keyholders
great
where she's
RP.
sharing that,
We are
key
also
with
all
somebody
here
else.
in this room
It's not enough
discussing a
PC
part
to
of the
lock
server
down that
meta
property.
that is needed
Right.
for
So
everyone,
how
right?
is it any different than her owning
This
a
is an
house
issue
and
many
her
people have
living in a
complained
house,
about.
potentially? What the
Because
fuck's the
I can
difference?
give anyone keys to my property anytime without their consent. They're digital.
That sucks.
I could give you a key to my house right now. I could give anybody a key to my house. They could do nothing about it, and they can't get it removed until I do it for them.
Okay, well, why would you sabotage yourself like that?
There are plenty of people that would do that.
Then I don't feel bad for them. I don't. what
There
we
are
getting
plenty of
here?
people that would get other people rated on purpose because they hate them.
Why would that get someone else rated? You would get rated. You're
No,
confusing
you
yourself,
just told
though.
me that if I have a bunch of meth in my house and I have access to another house, that gives you right to search that house.
Your house.
If
would
I
get
get
rated.
if I get in good with another person and get them to give me a key for some reason, I can get them rated.
No, because it's because the key holder. So if you gave your key to me without me knowing, and I'm a meth smoking bank robber, then you would get rated because it's your house. I have a key to it.
Yes,
That's what
and
you
it can
just
go
said.
the other way where you can get
Right.
someone to give you a key out of good faith out of running a business or something, and then you
It's
have
like
a key to
planting
their
guns,
house,
the
and
same
if
kind of
you
way,
get
right?
rated, then it can link to them.
Right. Well, I don't know what to say. I think this is why landlords do background checks. So they're not giving keys out to their properties of people who are
So now we're
criminals.
running into a problem where he's refusing to consider the fact that like this is a thing in the MDW, and there's no
Okay,
real way for us to proceed
just
with the
to
discussion.
Kind of bring things in here.
Because
I
he's
just
keeping
don't
it
think that
entirely in
having
character,
access
which
to
is
a place
reasonable.
gives you the ability to rate it because that means that you could articulate that literally wherever this person has access to, there could be things stored at.
How about don't give keys of your home to meth smoking
He's not.
bank robbers?
He's not making
I mean, I
wrong
don't know.
arguments
But
in
if just
RP.
having access
but
to
he's
a place
making
gives you the ability to
discussions
go
that
inside of
are
it, then you
reasonable
could articulate that
in
literally
RP.
anywhere these meth smoking bank robbers
But in terms
go,
of like the server
could
health
be a
and
place
the
that they're storing
argument,
shit. They could be fucking hiding
it
things
might
underneath
not be the
scenes of
best
murder
for
shot,
this
and you go raid
world
that place
if
is what you're
having
articulating. If
keys
you can go
is
into a
reasonable.
location, you have the PC to go in there. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, this gets really
Uh,
awkward when it comes to like
Sometimes,
business
yeah.
people
Wait,
too.
Burger Shop's been rated because of that. Actually, yes.
No, what I'm saying though is if that's all that it takes to get rated, then let's say hypothetically
That
Crane
is all
here,
it takes to get rated.
if Crane here has an RPG or whatever and he gets rated, then we go through all of his apartments, every single business that he's ever had access to, the courthouse, we go through Every single office he's ever been in. We go through the police department because he's concealed had access. We have to literally go fucking everywhere, and it doesn't make any sense, Wrangler.
I think scope is the most important thing when it comes to these raids, right? And like Kareem was trying to say, you need that second connection. You got the legwork. All you gotta do is get that probable cause, the subpoena, or something else to support the connection that, hey, they've been inside there, or they have basically the stash.
Look, I'm just gonna say this, okay? It is, and I'll be the person that does this, and I'll take it to them and see what their direction is. I'll go to the Senate and ask their input, but we're at the point where
Jesus Christ.
I agree with Wrangler that in some ways, right, like logically and just on a very base level, legally he can try to make a connection between someone having access to a property and the likelihood that they've stored drugs in those properties, especially if he raids 3 of their 5 properties and the first 3 are all hits, okay? However, do I think that with the advent of the digital key system and the way that Keyholders works, that I'm comfortable signing off on raid warrants for properties simply because someone is a key holder? No, I've actually told him that. So, as a result, do I believe that if I wouldn't sign off on a raid warrant for a property, just someone is a key holder, that there is probable cause to then lock it down? No.
Do you know how stash houses work?
I think the point that he's trying to make, though, is that there are ways to articulate and get at that stash house without immediately locking it.
I remember when we would have people running stash houses that haven't been active in fucking months.
Oh yeah, yeah. Dead people used to own stash house all the time.
What's
I
going
mean,
on,
you guys
Judge? How
are.
you?
I don't know if you guys know what you're
these
going
properties have been seized
towards.
and taken away from them quite quickly now with this new asset system.
What properties have been seized?
Well, it hasn't happened yet because the system was
Oh,
released
okay,
last
got it,
month.
yeah,
But okay, well, I mean, sorry.
So all these
for-
properties have,
sorry
but it
for
hasn't
giving
happened
you.
yet.
Well, sorry for telling you the way that shit works. I guess you didn't fucking read the announcement.
Well, but I'm asking you
Maybe
what.
you should
what-
read the search and seizure guidelines before you start writing this shit out, Wrangler. I can't
well,
fucking believe that
maybe
we
when
have
you
to
give
sit
an
here and tell
example,
this
you
to
should. But you have yet to name one time that I've abused this system. I'm standing here.
Like
There's
the
fucking
time
10
you
of you
locked
here.
30
When the fuck
people's
has it
houses
happened?
For no reason.
Wrangler,
For no-
Wrangler.
okay.
Hold on,
But-
stop.
but
Stop.
when- but when?
Stop
I'm standing
yelling.
here.
Stop
When?
yelling.
When has it
Stop
happened?
yelling.
I'm asking you when.
Okay. I believe, Wrangler, that the times that you locked down the
okay.
people that Mary Posa had access to because of her business or employment, which she told you in interrogation, she told you about. I know because I confirmed with her.
Could be lying.
Right? And so if someone's lying, guess what that is? Reasonable suspicion to investigate, not to automatically lock down those properties just because she's a key holder.
I've explained to you
We're going
why I
in
had
circles.
PC. I don't know why you're veering away from that.
You did not have PC to lock down people who had nothing to do with that gang.
But they inherently do when she gives them access to her property, because then she's acting as a resident.
No, that's reasonable suspicion.
No, the
That's a
probable.
link.
Yes, that is reasonable suspicion. Pause.
And you need to
pause.
prove, and
pause.
you need to prove that
and
they
I'm
have
about to do it
actually
right now.
accessed it and put things
Okay.
inside that place.
What is it, Wrangler?
I'm sorry. Is them not having a key to the property not proof that they've been
No,
inside?
it's not. Just because you have access to a place doesn't mean you've been inside of that place. I could go walk in a fucking burger shop and I haven't been there in 2 months.
Okay. All right. Okay. All right. So someone having access to a property isn't proof that they have access to a property.
No,
I
it's
understand.
not proof that they've been in the property. I need you to listen,
Oh,
Wrangler.
okay. They haven't been in it, but they just have access to it.
You need to prove that they're actually using that property for something. You can't just lock it down because they have a key to it.
All right. If that's what you guys want to do, let's go.
No,
for
I
it.
mean, Wrangler, are you getting the gist of the whole thing and the whole purpose behind this meeting, so on the same page? I mean, that's the reason I brought everybody down here, so we can talk about and discuss this on the same page. So it's not an issue going forward.
Right. Yeah. Sure. Let's go with that.
I mean, it doesn't sound like it. Are you sure?
I'm so. I mean, if it like Crane said, we're going in circles. If you guys truly honestly believe that someone having access to a property isn't proof enough that they've been inside of that property, I don't know.
That's
what to tell
not
you,
what
man.
that's not what's being said, and you're misconstruing everyone's word intentionally, Wrangler. Stop it.
That is literally what was just said.
That is not what was said, and you just stop.
That's what was just said.
That's not what was just said.
Okay. I feel like I'm being gaslit, actually.
So, okay, stop. So, what was said was that just because someone on the MDW has keyholder access to a property does not mean they've been inside of it.
Yes, that's what was said.
That's what I just said!
That's not what you said, Wrangler.
What is happening right now?
Okay. Just because we're not, because this back and forth is going to be pointless because we're arguing right now. Okay. Are we clear as far as the guidelines for the lockdown? Are we on the same page here?
I think in the meantime, Crane said it best. I think that as much as, we don't like bothering them, perhaps Crane should go to the Senate and find out what the intention was of us getting access to the
The funny thing is,
digital
I've already done this. I
lockdown
just haven't done it in
system.
character.
I'm just afraid
So,
that there's gonna be
the
more
reason for
paperwork
this
and
is because
guidelines
I
to lock down a
know
property, and it's become a
that,
shit show and a hassle just to get it done.
This
So,
is
and I
not
don't want that to become
Okay.
a thing
intended,
because
and I'm trying
this
to
tool
role
we
play it
have
out as
helps
opposed
a
to just
lot,
saying,
and last thing I
staff doesn't
want
think
is
this is what we
Do
should
you
do.
realize
step-
that this tool that we have is directly because of the fucking stash houses that we had to deal with before the rebuild? You realize that, right?
Absolutely.
This is why we
Hold on,
have it?
hold on,
Absolutely.
So
hold on,
that's- but
hold.
that's what you
That
guys
is
are going
hold on.
towards.
That is not exactly why we have it. There are other elements that came in, such as extending the number of keys that people can have to a given house. In the old system, which was a couple months ago before we got the lockdown access, there was only 1 or 2 extra keys to a house. Now there are like 4. So there were reasons why this was added, but it is not inherent that just because you can see something means that it gives you probable cause, which I will get firm clarification on from the Senate, okay, and the architects and such. But in terms of this discussion, I think we've all reached a point where we understand each other's point of view. I don't begrudge any of you for your point of view. I understand exactly logically where Wrangler is coming from. I understand legally where his head is at. I don't think that every single time he's locked down a property, it's been wrong. I don't think that every single time he's locked down a property, it's been right. What that does mean is that we need clarification on intent from the Senate, as Malton said. So I think this was productive. I think, we got a bit of understanding here, and we can move forward and get some direction from on high. Does anyone have a problem with that?
I don't.
I
No,
know.
I generally
The only
agree with
thing I
that.
would like to point out is what exactly is the difference between the MDW saying someone's a key holder and saying that they're a homeowner? I mean, just because they own the home, it's the same logic. That still doesn't prove that they've been inside that house.
Hey, Wrangler, I got a question for you.
Yep.
What's the difference between a door being unlocked and a door being open?
The lock being locked, I don't know.
Well, there you go, because I would consider a door being adjacent, it being open or not. But we all have to work with what we can work with, right? So let's not go down these roads.
I'm saying the opposite of the point you're trying to prove right now.
Understood.
Okay, fantastic.
Like at the end of the day, we don't want to lose access to these tools.
Ajar, sorry,
so
I
we
didn't mean
can't be
adjacent.
abusing them. So regardless of your personal opinions on the matter, what is important is that we're following the guidelines that are set before us. All right.
100%. Last thing we want is another fucking step or two when it comes to these lockdowns, right? Because they've saved us a lot. So as long as we're adhering by guidelines and we're following the steps when it comes to the guidelines for the search and seizure probable cause.
Yeah, I don't know why I said
I don't think
adjacent. I'm in
anybody
a
would have an issue
jar.
with what you're
My
doing
head's
right
like swimming right now. Your case is not gone.
Your
Shut
raids
up.
are fantastic,
see.
to be honest. You're the most productive member in this police
Yeah,
department,
and I
in my
defend
opinion.
him to every single criminal. However, there are some times where we have to look at things and take the temperature of where we're at internally. As
I
the
don't
DOJ.
think this conversation should be happening here.
You may not be entirely wrong.
All right.
Well, I mean, I want to just get the ball rolling on it so we can have at least a discussion as far as the issues that have been brought up to Ukraine. So instead of just like waiting for that date to happen.
I'm going to bow out of this and get back to what I'm doing because, like I said, I feel like this conversation is heading to a point where it shouldn't be happening.
Yep, we should talk somewhere
Goodbye.
else. We'll see y'all.
All right. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
On
Thanks
that
for all
note,
the
Crane-
examples that were given to me of. how
Crane,
I
on
use
that
this
note,
one.
You're welcome.
did you see what I emailed
Appreciate
you?
that.
Is that I'll be blunt. That was
So,
my understanding of the
You want me to
system,
bring
but
me
I
here
could
to
be
yell at
wrong
him? Is
on
that
it.
why you brought me here?
No, I mean, I brought everybody who from high command so we can have a discussion about it.
I was
That way-
That makes sense. What I'm
It doesn't
saying
feel like
there,
Wrangler's
Crane.
being ganged up on. I just wanted to bring everybody who's from the high commanding, circle so they can give their input on it. So it
we-
feels like you know, everybody's on the same page.
Oh, okay. all
Right, but I feel like
that's,
asking me to come here specifically
That
kind
makes
of made
sense
a lot of
then.
this really awkward.
No, I asked Rose and I asked Kyle.
Somewhere then.
I asked
we also
everybody.
tried to reach out to Brad.
Yeah.
and,
Right,
we
but,
were
you
trying
know,
to get
I mean,
everybody.
a good friend of mine was a direct recipient of a lot of this shit, so
I mean, you're a captain in the bay. That's what matters. You're Angel. None of that, all that bullshit out there matters. Honestly, you're a captain in the bay. Your input matters. You're a high commanding member. That's it. That's why I brought you here.
all right. I just don't like the appearance of any personal bias. So
No, that's exactly why I asked everybody from high command to show up. I didn't want it to make it feel like LSPD is like trying to gang up on, you know,
no,
Wrangler
I'm
kind of
not
thing.
talking about that.
I was really hoping the sheriff would be able to be here because, I mean,
Yeah,
I'm
I
gonna be-
emailed
I'm gonna be
Kyle. He
com-
never responded back to me.
Yeah, I'm going to be completely honest. I think that the more captains there are in people who are of a lateral rank to Wrangler, I don't think was as helpful
Right.
as
The
having
reason,
the sheriff and as chief and as sheriff and all so on and so forth.
okay, they would have been better to be here than me because my cousin Mary was the direct recipient of a lot of this bullshit. Is what I'm trying to tell you guys.
No, I totally get that.
So
but at
that's
the same
why I
time,
shouldn't be here.
I mean, I don't see it that way. I think you're a high commanding member that has input and can influence the direction of the PD, right? So that's why you're here in the first place.
We also didn't want to avoid appearance of LSPD and DOJ just like punching down on him. That was
Sure.
a,
Like,
Also, I didn't know that at all.
didn't know what.
No, I didn't. know anything about this.
Oh, you didn't know? Well, yeah.
No,
I
I
mean,
had no
that's why I felt a little bit awkward coming. I mean, I'm really happy to be
I don't.
here.
I mean, I
I
think
just
what you said
said-
was very important. Actually, I'm glad you showed up, Angel, because you provided very good insight as far as the guidelines and how everybody should adhere to it, regardless if they like it or hate it. So
I've had
I
to play by
appreciate
these
you.
guidelines for a long time, and I know the stresses of dealing with them. Which is, I'll be honest with you, I do find it a little bit frustrating that we're abusing the system after it was given to us. When I remember a long time ago when I wanted to raid OTT's stash house, I spent literally 6 hours just camping in a bush with a fucking camera, just waiting for him to go into the fucking place so I could get a raid warrant on that place. So
I mean, hell,
for things
even
to swing so drastically from that to this person has keys so I can go in their house, it doesn't sit right with me.
yeah, that was my fear. Is like if we're going down this path, it's a path of no return. And once we go down there, we're losing that ability. And once we lose that ability, our job to raid these scumbags is going to become a lot harder, and more resources will be exhausted to watch these properties 24/7.
Yeah, you know what?
think-
It's like shooting a fucking street racer and then saying, "Whoa, I caught one! Congratulations! You fucking shot someone that was driving really fast. Good job, you did it. I'm really proud of you."